Alright, so that's a look outside, guys. It's raining. It's come up a storm. And so I'm chilling in the garage right now. I'm going to show you a couple things I've been working on. And we'll show you some things I'd like to do tonight. We'll make a video out of it. Alright? Cut it. Alright, guys. So I just finished cutting the grass actually just a little bit ago. And good thing. Cut it, weeded it, blew sidewalks and off around the pool and whatever. And I was wanting to do some woodworking now that I've got my chores done, and blew up a storm. Now I can turn wood in my garage sometimes, but it makes a pretty big mess. And when you're sanding and things like that, it gets real dusty in here and it gets hard to breathe. So I don't want to do that unless I could have the door up, but with it storming and wind blowing and whipping around, I'm just not going to do that. However, there's a couple of things I'd like to update you on. If you look here, I've still got my cedar log on my lathe. You see I've got a couple of the kids' fishing poles up on the wall. And I need a haircut, so forgive that. But I'm going to show you something pretty cool. A couple of things that are pretty cool, and then we'll get into today's video. Alright? Okay, so here's the first thing I wanted to show you, and this is actually from my buddy Toby, who I referred to, I guess, on video as Trolling Toby. He and I did a video earlier this year where we were trolling out on a local lake. This is a bunch of a bunch of Atari stuff. You can see an old Atari 2600 console right here. A bunch of games. Toby came across this stuff, even an old TV to hook it up to that still works. Asked my son to clean it up for him. My son's already wiped down the TV, and he asked him to clean up the games, just clean up everything. You see, you got some glass cleaner or whatever over there. Clean it up, put it back together, and then he wants him to like test it. You know, he wants him to test the joysticks work, test the games, do they work? And once he figures out what works and what doesn't, then either my son can buy it from him, or he's going to list it on a Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever. So that's the first cool thing I want to show you. And I asked my son about it earlier today. He said he's going to come out here later today and work on it. So let me know if you've ever done anything like that. Have you ever picked up an old Atari at a yard sale or something and worked on it and had any fun with it? And if you did any good with it. Okay, the second thing I wanted to show you. Alright, there is my shopsmith, my lathe. And that dude, that box is about 5 foot long, something like that. So that board right there is about 6 foot long, and it is a solid piece of mahogany. That is a large piece of mahogany. And down here in my wood box, I've actually got a couple of pieces where I cut it. I guess I cut it off like that and then cut it in thirds or something like that. But I've got some of those that I'd like to turn at some point. And this is actually a stick of walnut. This is walnut and that is walnut. Of course, that's cedar. That's the crotch piece. But that is a great big piece of mahogany that I don't know what in the world I'm going to do with. So if you got a thought of something I might could do with that great big piece of mahogany, leave it in the comments down below. Again, it's a straight up like 2x6, real 2x6, like rough cut piece of mahogany that my friend Dave Miller gave me a long man at my last house. Yeah, at my last house. So I've had it at least 8 years. So let me know your thoughts on that, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do today. Okay, so I'm back on camera. Sorry if I bored you thus far with a bunch of rando stuff. Looking at this cedar here and talking about this situation, I'm going to hold you out like this a little bit. One of the things that was happening, you noticed in the last video, is it bouncing around a lot. And so I've actually located a ratcheting strap, small ratcheting strap that's got a little backstory to it. I'll share it with you. And then I'd like to start talking about tools for this turn. And, you know, based on the weather, that may be all we get to do today. And I may try to come in here tomorrow and turn after church, something like that. So, guys, let's put that ratcheting strap on. Okay, so forgive the wonky angle there, but I got you resting on my stool, my wood turning stool. So I found this green ratcheting strap right here, and I told you it had a little bit of a backstory. Well, when we got our swimming pool installed, the workers who were digging our pool accidentally backed their trailer into a little maple tree we've got in our backyard. And that maple tree is actually something that my daughter Hannah, middle child, brought from our last house. And she put it in a little red Solo cup as a sprout. And we actually lived with my mom and dad, my mom at the time, for about 6 weeks. And my daughter kept that tree alive. And one of the first things we did after we moved into our current home is we planted that tree. And it's done amazing. And it's quite big. And one day I'll kind of show you that tree and we'll talk about it some more. But it's very healthy. It's a big silver maple. And anyhow, so what we're going to do now is I am going to see about coming directly under where I'm turning right here. And I'm going to add this ratcheting strap. And we're going to ratcheting strap this to the base. And again, I could take all this lumber out. And at some point, I'll probably anchor it to the actual, the Shopsmith, to the actual cart that it's in. But for right now, I'm just going to ratcheting strap it to the cart. All right, so let's cut this and then let's see if we can't get that done. All right. Let's do it like this. Let's put that joker over that way. Look at that. That worked out real nice. Okay.
What are you doing?
I am putting a ratcheting strap on a thing, and you're on camera right now.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Trying to do it right underneath my Shopsmith right here. And I'll probably edit a lot of this out, but alright, let's get this joker set up. Just like that. And we'll take this, kind of loop it around, make sure it's not on our phone. And hopefully that'll stay. Okay, so for my woodworkers out there, that right there is a bad sign. If anyone out there kind of has ever turned wood, you know that right there, a tool hung up. That's a tool catch, right? That's something dug in a little too far, wasn't positioned right, whatever. And that's usually pretty bad news. Now when I turn this again, I'm going to have to turn center out, and I'm going to have to work the wood this way. And I'll be able to get that out of there by removing material. And it just works easier. Go center out, right? Flip the tool, go center out. Until you get it down to where it's smooth all over, and then you can kind of just work it. But let me show you what happened, and then I'll show you what I did to correct it, or Yeah, I guess that's the right terminology. Okay, forgive the lighting. I'm working off a bulb on my grinder here. What I want to show you is my original set of wood turning tools. Make sure it's unlocked here. Alright, this is, I believe, called a parting tool. It's just a point. I have a skew. And then I had a, what we call a thumbnail gouge. Okay, now if you look, it's broken. It broke on me. Now these are tiny. These tools are for turning little bitty wood blanks. Little bitty, this is not the greatest, but stuff about that wide, but like in a block. And then you drill a hole in it, and you'd stick it on a spindle and on a mandrel, and you'd stick it on a lathe, and then that's all you had to do. Run your tool across the tool rest and round that off and get it down to a size that's about pen sized. Or also made flashlights, and I can't remember if I've made anything other than that. Turned a lot of pins, but anyway, it broke. I actually was using it hoping that I had roughed that one thing out a little bit, but I didn't have my tool rest up high enough, and so I broke my tool. Now, I didn't share it in the last video because I was, I don't know. I guess mentally I needed to get through it first. So here's what I've done. Now, I'm going to close this. Now, this is a bowl gouge. All right, 12-inch bowl gouge. The thing about a bowl gouge is it's a solid piece of forged steel that they hollow out, and then there is your cutting edge up here. And what I bought was a roughing gouge. All right, now I got a big one. This is a big dude. They're both Crown. Hopefully Crown is a recognizable brand to a few folks. So I got a Crown. This is a roughing out gouge. So what this helps me do is when I put a big log on, I can rough it out. Now, one of the things that most woodworkers will tell you is you use the tools you have. I would love to have a big skew. I would love to have like a pointed gouge. There's other things that I would love to have, but truth is, once you get the basic shape down, there's a lot of things you can do with sandpaper and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to start removing material with this. This is a 1 1/4 inch roughing gouge, and the cool thing about this is you spin that gouge as you're removing material, right? And so you can work on different sharp places on that. And I think it's busted. I tell you to do with sharp. But anyhow, so I've added to my tool arsenal, and that is basically going to be it for today's video. I don't really have the time to get outside to do anything else because of all the stinking rain. But and this is a thing for charging your AC on your vehicle, and why it's up here I don't know. I got to clean my crap up, but sorry about that. But so yeah, I had to replace this little bitty woodworking tool with a man-sized one, with a big one. And as I add tools to the arsenal, I'll let you know what and why, and then hopefully I can create maybe on that wall right there some sort of tool rest where I can rest my tools on it and have them on display, and that way they're more accessible or whatever. But that's going to be it for today's video. So stay tuned, and I'll see if I can't get back on my project. Now let me cut this and turn it around. That was fast. So stay tuned, and we'll get back on this project as soon as I can. Now what I'm going to try and do is actually make well, I'm not even going to tell you what I'm making just yet. But I am going to rough this out. The plan is going to be to rough it out to about the same size as my that deal right there. And once I get that done, then I'm going to start shaping out the item that I'm making. And I'm going to have to use the tools I have to do that. And then take it the rest of the way with sandpaper until I get other things. So Leave me a comment down below. Comment on some of this stuff about the Atari. Like I said, what you think I could make out of this mahogany. Let me know what you think I'm turning. I'd be interested to hear what folks' ideas are. Hopefully you can hear that thunder. It's kind of crazy. But that's going to do it for today's video, man. I'm going to get in here in just a minute and try to splice all this footage together and see if it's worth anything. Subscribe to the channel, please. Hit that like button for me. If you made it thus far, thank you so much. Hopefully you find some interest in this stuff. I'm trying to grow. And we're going to cut it right here, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, thanks. Peace.